All right, so let's move on to the next topic. We're going to talk about Leech. Now, in some instances, Leech is definitely better. In most instances, I want to freaking rip it apart and bitch about it. So, I do that a lot, so beware. Leech overall right now has got a lot of changes. If anybody wants to really understand how Leech works, because it's a lot of math, you could check out Gouda. He made a really nice Leech guide on YouTube. It's Ghudda. If someone in chat would be kind enough to link that YouTube video, it'd be great. Leech overall right now is pretty damn good if you have a lot of it. The problem is it's hard to get a lot of it with the Blood Rage changes. Energy Shield builds are definitely suffering now, unless, of course, you use the Life Leech gem. Right now, Ziggy, you're playing a CI build. What is your experiences with Leech?
So Leech, if you're hitting a lot of targets and hitting very quickly, like getting rapid stacking of Leech instances, is, I think, very strong and very impactful. I'm playing a Whispering Ice character with a Life Leech gem on CI and obviously with Ghost Reaver, and it's I can't imagine playing without it, honestly. Like, I can't imagine dropping that Leech and having my character feel like I could, you know, it's a clear speed boost for me to have Leech than it is for me to have a damage gem in that slot. So I feel like Leech is very strong in those sorts of cases. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna, since I know you're gonna take the negative approach towards most of Leech, I guess I'll come out with more of my positivity towards Leeches. As far as like endgame goes, in most cases, I kind of like the way Leech is at the moment. I like the idea that it's not anywhere near as effective on single target unless you sort of fulfill some of those difficult to reach criteria of hitting a single target a lot very quickly. You know, stacking up those instances.
Burn him.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. I think I kind of like the Leech overall. The areas that I don't like so much is that Leech feels useless while leveling. I feel like why does that need to be the case? And also, I feel like Mana Leech is a bit sketchy in general. The fact that it's been impacted by a lot of the Leech changes.
When they first posted about Leech, didn't they make a comment that they felt that Leech wasn't strong enough in the leveling process?
Yeah, and then they made it worse.
Yeah, which I was
you can't even roll Mana Leech until like level 50 anyways anymore. You have to use jewels because they're item level 1. That's the only way you can get Mana Leech early now. Or like a unique or something.
Well,
you can stack a heap of Leech while leveling, and it just does nothing.
It does
nothing. It
life
gives you
unhit,
one life per back.
Leech is
per
insanely
hit back,
important
basically.
for two builds that both Dygnity and RichJMoney played. Mjolnir builds want Leech.
My Mjolnir build used 0 Leech.
Really?
Kingsguard doesn't. Kingsguard gets its healing through endurance
you
charges.
replaced it with Kingsguard.
You have to.
Yep.
Because you can't
that
sustain
replace it
on
exactly.
Leech alone.
Yeah, my
Leech is
Fakener
dead
can
for it.
barely sustain on Life Leech.
Well,
that's
they
the Life
correct
Leech
Leech,
gem.
Leech, man.
When I tried it in beta, like Leech before, you know, perfect. You know, you're good. You play your Fakener, you play your Mjolnir, your Leech is good. And I played it in beta, it wasn't good enough. So you both played Mjolnir and Fakeners. Overview.
Yeah, so I felt that Leech. I played Fakener first, and felt that Leech could sort of sustain there. The single target, like, sustaining my life pool was pretty bad. And when I saw these Kingsguard Mjolnir builds coming up, I instantly hopped on it because it's thousands of healing per second. With how fast you're hitting, how fast you're discharging. I can face tank the level 76 Piety, and my health never goes below half, and it instantly fills up afterwards. And that's getting stack upon stack of that beam. It's insane, and it's replaced Leech for me in that build entirely.
I think that it's also like against like the higher end single targets, specifically like Aziri and Uber Aziri. You cannot run Leech anymore, and as for like Mjolnir, for example, and because of the Leech reduction compounded with like on the actual gear and in the tree, and then compounded with the reduction of yield from the boss itself, you're stuck in this situation where you get worn down. It doesn't matter how much DPS you're doing, you're not going to be leeching enough with Vow Pact or Acuities, even the highest end gear, in order to really safely be able to go, okay, I can do this. You're going to be in these situations where you're spamming pots, you're running around like trying to avoid damage rather than being able to tank it like you previously could, and it forces you into the itemization that is Kingsguard. And that force of itemization, even though Kingsguard is amazing, the moment that dropped, I knew exactly what I was going to do with it. I knew exactly what it was for. It was going on my chest, 6 length, fortify, molten strike. I'm going to be throwing tons of projectiles. I'm going to be Vol's devotioning, and life is going to be glorious. But what I was able to do, even though it does force you into the Kingsguard, you're able to take that life leech gem directly out of your Mjolnir because you no longer need it. There is no point to run it. You can run another arc, you can run Iron Will, you can run Shock Nova, you can have a lightning pin in there, you can put whatever you want because you no longer have the need at all for that gem. It is not 100% useless, but it's almost wholly ineffective.
I'll before you guys go on, I guess I'll expand upon why I like the current Leech, rather than just saying I like the current Leech, because that's not very useful, thinking about it now. What I like about the current Leech is that it is still a powerful mechanic when it's used in the right circumstances. I like that it makes certain pieces of content scarier, namely bosses, which was one of the major intentions. And I like that it gets us, and a lot of you guys have touched on this a bit with some of the things like Kingsguard and stuff, I like that it gets us to explore other options for healing. Whether it be Flask nodes, Flask effect, rolling powerful flasks, actually paying attention and using our flasks, which I love, using various uniques, using Enduring Cries, regen, things like that. I like all of those things about the Leech changes, and that's why I like the way Leech is right now. I feel like overall it's a big improvement to the game, the feeling of the game, the tactics of the game. Makes me pay much more attention to the way I'm dealing with certain things. I'm aware now that when I'm fighting a large pack of enemies that I can rely on my Leech, but when I'm fighting a difficult exile or a single target rare or something, then I need to make sure my flasks are full, that I have my other defensive things in check. That's what I like about it.
My issue with Leech. All right, go ahead, Project.
Okay, no, go Zeno.
I've been very patient. No interruptions.
I want to hear this.
All right.
Okay, here's the explosion.
Okay, so Mana Leech.
This is gonna get fun, guys.
Mana Leech is not terrible with the addition to mana gain on hit jewels. I will say that. The Viridian Jewel concept, you can roll mana gain on hit, is a beautiful thing. You can also roll Mana Leech with that jewel. There's also Spirit Void, and I believe the Duelist you could spend 1 point for 0.4%. No one's going to spend all 4 points. Let's be real. That I'm okay with. It's a little bit harder on single target, but mana gain on hit does help out with that issue. There's also still Elrion Jewelry. So Mana Leech, yeah, it got changed. You just have to think of a new creative way to do it. Life Leech. I am playing an ES build right now with 3k ES, sitting at level 51. No shield at that either. I got Ghost Reaver. I was really hyped. I'm playing a dagger build with a ton of crit multi. I mean, I'm like destroying crap with power charges, ripping through stuff right now with my daggers. I have around 1.5% to 2% leech, and I get nothing. Like, seriously, I get jack all leech back. And it seems that Leech, when you have a royal butt ton of it, I'm looking at you, Claws, is very, very good. But explain to me why Blood Rage got nerfed to the point where you can't even sustain the degen unless you get Zealot's Oath, which you're spending 12 points to get, by the way. And the Leech it provides can't even out-leech the degen, on top of the fact that I can't get Val Pact because I'm running Blood Rage and I need to counter that. The Blood Rage change infuriates me. It's really bad. I understand CI got something for free, but by changing it, you completely wrecked attack builds, and now you have to use the Life Leech gem for an attack-based build or go Claws. And that is not good. You just destroyed a whole meta of CI dagger builds, I mean, even sword builds, just attack builds in general. And CI bows, let's be real, they weren't very popular, but with the change to EB, the Soul Strike Quiver is pretty much obsolete right now because they didn't make the same changes on Soul Strike like they did on the skill tree. That's my beef with Leech right now. It can be very good.
Beef with Blood Magic, really.
Or yeah, and kind of CI was kicked down. I don't think anyone's really gonna say much against that. Flasks are more important, and I like this. I have been in previous leagues fairly lazy with flasks. They, keep your granite up. You're good. Done. And this league has forced me to actually learn proper flask management without just being an idiot about it.
Love it.
If you are a life-based character, flasks are your friend. They are amazing, and Leech is overrated to a degree. That being said, CI doesn't have that access, and I think there's a very valid argument. Like Ziggy was saying, you you giving up the life leech gem, but you're also giving up the aura to use discipline. You're giving up your ability of easy frenzy charge generation with frenzy. CI is now giving up a lot. It has the stun problem. It has the shock freeze problem.
Yeah.
It has
playing my first ever CI character, I feel like there's a lot of reasons why. I guess not a lot of reasons that I'm benefiting from taking CI, more than I'm trying to counter a lot of disadvantages.
And
like it's working, but
CI seems like something right now. If you want to
CI
play
attacks
fun,
mostly.
You can, but I always struggle to justify it.
All right, so here's my dual striker right now. I have, before you can auto curse with the Herald of Thunder. Herald of Thunder, and now it's harder to shock monsters, so it's harder to auto curse. I have to use reduced mana's gone, so good luck sustaining discipline, hatred. Reduced mana no longer affects auras and reservation. Let me clarify. Which means that I have to invest in even more mana reservation, but don't worry, there's level 4 Enlighten. So I have to get even more to get an auto cursor. I have to hit even harder to get an auto cursor. Hatred and discipline. That's really tough. And on top of that, I can't run Blood Rage to sustain. If I do run Blood Rage, I'm just killing myself. And I have to spec a ton of Leech to play daggers. I get it. Daggers were meta for so long, they needed a nerf. But that is just so much. That is so much nerfing, it's ridiculous. They definitely need, even Chris Wilson said last podcast, they need to change Leech. He even said that, in the current state of the game, he feels the Leech values might be too low. So, I mean, when the lead dev even says it, I'm pretty sure it needs some sort of rework. It is very good in high numbers. It is extremely good in high numbers. The problem is the average player can't do that, and Blood Rage is rip.
I tried sustaining Blood Rage in CI during the beta, and then low life. That was a struggle. You need a lot of Leech to beat that degen. Because then the problem is, what's the advantage of CI? Well, you get an extraordinarily high health pool, but then you degen more because it's percent based, and you're constantly fighting against yourself. And I definitely agree that CI just keeps getting kicked. When you talk about life-based builds, with the access of health potions, with the new Flask nodes that are available on the tree, it seems... Chris Wilson did say they need to possibly adjust in the future, and they're looking at the numbers. Now, how much that is, is that a 5% improvement? Is that a 20% improvement? We have not a clue. Still seems to fit their philosophy, right? They don't want us to sustain on bosses, and AoE Leech is easier. I don't think, it is easier. AoE Leech is
You can't sustain on a pack, let alone a boss, dude.
You can't.
Yeah, I'm not kidding you. I'm getting people were watching me last night. Etep was even in there. He's like, I quit my Reaver because I couldn't even sustain on daggers in a pack. You have to use the gem. You seriously have to use a Life Leech gem right now. Or get every jewel with Life Leech, which is a crimson, so you're losing on some damage if you're playing CI. All your jewelry would need to have it. And I'm not kidding you. ES gained on hit is better in every function than Life Leech, pretty much, except for claws maybe. And it's still nothing. I was a whole pack. I went up crit a whole pack, and I got 40 ES back. I was like, what the hell is this crap? And they made it so it stacks now. You can hit multiple mobs. It was awful.
I feel like Ziggy, you made a really good point about because of these Leech changes, especially in more intense and dangerous situations, it forces you to be much more aware of both your flask management, your positioning, and the way that you're playing your character. You cannot rely on just running in with enough Leech to go instant full from however low you are. However, I feel like when they hit Leech as hard as they did on both fronts, from the trees perspective, the gears perspective, and that, as well as the mob perspective, that they didn't really supplement that with a lot of tools to sort out something like CI's current situation. There's no where's the claw that gives ES on hit with an implicit? You see what I'm saying? Where is some of these resources and tools that now you might be forced into them if you're trying to do this, but they took away what we were using they took away Immortal Call, yes, you can still use your Enduring Cry, yes, you can still use these mechanics, but they're not as powerful as they were before, and the mobs, they've gotten a little bit more powerful since the last time around. So you can
there's a key component missing that ZiggyD mentioned, that they're investigating the idea of adding more effects to flasks for Chaos Inoculation builds, or for Energy Shield, the flasks that have effects on Energy Shield.
Right.
And that might be the missing component, because there's the same things I said that I like about the Leech changes. Many of them don't apply to CI. I agree.
And I don't.
CI is definitely missing something.
A lot.
It needs something to justify it.
The whole purpose of the Blood Rage nerf was to CI got something for free. Now it's CI is absolutely decimated by it. Like, attack builds got hurt so hard from it. They really did. And I understand changing it for low life. You know, like, what's the point of playing a low life attack build right now other than extra auras? You don't get the bonus attack speed on Blood Rage or Blood Magic anymore. Crown of Eyes, you could do a CI.
Isn't it technically, if you could justify it, a dual wield CI melee damage on full life gem is like the highest Fizz DPS build?
Technically,
but
your
you're not going to
ES
be
isn't
able.
gonna get that high.
Technically, in Mirrorland standard. Sure.
I mean, that's, again, the top 1% argument, man. You got to talk about, you know, like, the big pool of players here that it actually affects.
And you should also. Oh, I was just saying, you should also look at the player who's the casual player, who's trying CI for the first time. The people who are not seasoned players, who are like, okay, well, Energy Shield just sucks because I'm struggling. Like, I remember watching some of your you had like I can't remember. I think it was a Reaver that you played in Beta PT, and I'd watch you like turn on Blood Rage, and your ES pool would just like just little stutter. It would stutter down, then stutter up a little bit, then stutter down. It would never go back to full. Like, the moment you turn it on, it would never go back to full. And you have these players that you know, try these things for the first time, or get into them having played other builds with little to no experience, and they go, okay, well, this must just not be very good anymore. And in reality, yes, you can make it work. The struggle is real, and I don't think that I feel like you said, CI used to get something for free. They used to get Blood Rage for free. They used to get enough Leech from the tree.
It's not free, though.
Yeah, well, I was just leading into, they used to get enough Leech from the tree to make that combination help sustain them. And now we need something like, and I guess the opportunity cost for that was you gave up your health flask, right? You gave up your ability to spam your potions and stay alive, but
you gave up your ability to not be stunned.
Stun, shock.
Exactly.
It goes on and on, man.
Exactly.
It's not free.
And because of that, I feel like something like the maybe ES regen flasks or something along those lines is what now would help put that in the right spot, make that playable again, and make that even attractive, something new that people would like to try out.
All right, here's the way I can seal this deal on CI attack builds. Summarize this. Oxium, yesterday I looked it up, is selling for 1 to 3 chaos. 1 to 3 chaos. They didn't change the rarity. I think we need a change for CI attack builds. That's just my 2 cents.
I'll tell you what, casual CI, you said those words together, sounds like the punchline to a joke, right?
CI really isn't that bad. It's intimidating, but once you've played CI, it just becomes addictive and you want to keep playing it. It's really, really fun. It's so awesome.
By casual CI, I just mean, you know, the player who's not experienced with
that's what I mean. Like, a new player going into a CI build is not going to have a good time, man.
Yeah, when have they had a good time?
Right?
You just click on the CI passive and then die the next level.
Right? Why do I keep dying?
I mean, even you need more than a rudimentary amount of knowledge about CI. Like, you need to know more than just, oh, I should have a lot of energy shield before I allocate CI. You need to know a lot more than that before you can start to enjoy CI.
So how does freeze duration work? Oh, that's how.
You do learn about some mechanics, that's for sure.
Quick, fast, and in a hurry.
I mean, already CI is one of those things where the reward is you read the mechanics and now you understand the mechanics. Now you can play it. Like, that's a reward in itself. The first time you go CI and you have 4K plus ES or however much ES you have, and you're making it work, is like one of the best feelings in this game. Seriously, like, ES builds are very, very rewarding. They feel great, and the fact that we can't play them as much, I'm sure they're already aware of this. They could see the numbers. I expect changes. I'm pretty sure the whole community expects changes.
Well, one of the things is changes can be maybe seemingly obvious to us, but look how long Fire Prolif took to change. I wouldn't hold your breath all the time. Hope. Don't hold your breath.
I'm not playing a CI build currently, but going on what you were saying, Zeno, how do you feel? I know you're frustrated because of the lead situation, but does CI feel rewarding for you right now? Is it something
Hybrid is much better than CI pretty much in every instance, because you can either go life gain on hit with Ghost Reaver. There's a little bit. You have Val Discipline. Like, Hybrid is great this league. Hybrid is amazing. Nugi's shown that. A lot of people playing Hybrid. I will say it is in a very, very good state. But it doesn't mean just because Hybrid's now more popular. It's the reason it's more popular is because Blood Rage. The Blood Rage change is one of the biggest reasons. But for at least for attack perspectives, CI remains unaffected by summoners. So, if you're a summoner, CI is still in a very good spot because you don't need Leech. You have a bunch of minions protecting you. You still have your Val Disciplines, things like that. So I think CI summoning is obviously fine, but basically attack-based builds. The fact you have to use that gem, I'm not sure if that's the direction they wanted, but it is just too much. How much time we got left? We got about 30 minutes. What else can we talk about in the meantime? If you guys want to get any Q&A type questions going right now, this is a time where you can start asking questions in chat, and Ziggy will go ahead and get them posted and read them out to us, and we'll gladly answer them. In order to ask a question...
to collect them.
Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
public service announcement.
Go ahead.
Flask rolls are good on a belt. Just
Flash charges gained?
yeah, the flask charge
Duration?
reduction usage. The flask.
Don't tell everyone,
decoration,
Project.
The flask.
I like my cheap flask belts.
prefix. Or sorry, the 3 suffix
Suffixes.
rolls.
Yep.
Those ones are good. The prefix ones are garbage.
To clarify for hybrid, I mean ES life as hybrid, generally speaking. Sometimes they'll say hybrid hybrid armor evasion, but most of the time when people say hybrid, it's life ES. All right, so anyways, if you guys want any Q&A questions, is direct them at ZiggyD Live. Type at ZiggyD Live, ask your question. We're only going to answer, like the serious ones. You can troll all you want, but we won't answer that crap.
Just do an entire episode of
I
troll
can
questions.
troll all I want.
Here, I'll start with the first one. This one is troll. At ZenoocideGenius, which type of taco is my favorite?
Very good.
I'm not a big fan of Taco Bell, but there's this place here called Jim Boy's Tacos. It's pretty good. Back on topic. What's the first question, Ziggy?
Okay, first question comes in from Zulada. This is more of a suggestion, I guess, or I guess a prompt for you guys for your thoughts. What do you guys think about a utility flask that resets the timer for regen? So to me, that sounds a bit like Val Discipline, right?
Yeah. That also seems really useless if you're taking constant damage. It would have to give you a period of time, or else. It
would have to be an over time thing. So it could be on a utility flask,
But then
flask
that
mod
would just
maybe.
turn it to an energy shield flask, because it would be healing your energy shield over time.
Yeah, based on your recharge rate. Yeah,
Hey,
that would be
yeah.
difficult to balance for sure.
What if that rolls as like an affix on a flask at a reduced rate? So like you pop your granite, for example, and you can roll a granite that also has ES recharges at 50% or 40% or 20% while flask is active.
Yeah, I think that would make sense, because then when you start regenning, you can pop it, and there's a player skill component.
What do we got for the next question?
Okay, so this one's from Captain Planet TV. How do you deal with single target when you're a CI caster? So this is something I've had to deal with because, as I was mentioning, Leech for me is very, very effective against groups, but against single target, I have to rely on those other mechanics, and this is the case for most builds now with the Leech changes, and it's the intention. So for CI, for example, that means using Endure and Cry as built-in regen with Zealot's Oath, or using Val Discipline, as well as using any other defensive mechanics you have, like a totem and granites and things like that. That's how you deal with them. But
Val Discipline seems like the best one. Just
Yeah.
you get a lot of bonus health.
Yeah,
and stats.
if you're
Just
up against
face tank
Rogue
and
Exile,
kill it.
pop your Val Discipline. It should have increased duration linked to it. You can have 2 Val Disciplines, so you have 2 uses of them stacked up when you're going. It's a little bit expensive to get a Val Discipline, but it's something you need to do.
Val Discipline, unfortunately, like if you're fighting something like a Beyond boss, I hate to say it, cast when damage taken Warlord's Mark was really good for me when I was playing a caster. But Warlord's Mark, obviously, There's other curses you want to use too, but Warlord's Mark is definitely a good tool when you're running Ghost Reaver as well. That'll help you out a little bit. But Val Discipline, with increased duration, only lasts so long, and if you're fighting Host, the bane of CI's existence, it could be a little bit tricky. So you just have to play your cards right. There's nothing wrong with going back to town, things like that. What's the next question?
Okay. Next one comes in from Bubba Buckteeth. Do you guys think Magma Orb is a good skill? Who has experience with Magma Orb here?
I do. I actually tried to level with Magma Orb fairly early on at launch, and it just felt pretty lackluster. It didn't seem like it did enough damage in a big enough area to kind of make it worth the bounce. And I even tried Molten Strike cast on crit Magma Orb, and that was fun to look at, but it turned out that discharging was just better.
I actually did a Magma Orb character that unfortunately made it to about like 76. I loaded into a zone and I died during the load. The Magma Orb needs AoE. I agree with, like, if you're not investing to both the Templar AoE and the Witch AoE.
I had both of them and it was okay.
Yeah, I got the Scion AoE as well. And I was playing with the knockback gems, rolled on jewels, sorry. So knockback on jewels just to try it out as a defensive command. It was actually starting to feel really nice and clearing. It has the problem with Glacial Cascade. It doesn't have good left to right width, so it's never going to be a great clear. But I wasn't able to see it further because I loaded into a zone and I died in the loading screen.
It also behaves, sorry, but it also behaves weirdly like Glacial Cascade used to when it goes up or down things.
Yes.
You can't always like get it over a ledge, and then going down sometimes it like lands on the border and you don't get the second bounce. And
the audio makes you want to put a drill through your face.
Yeah, it felt really inconsistent in any zone that has different levels.
But when you get the double bounce, like on the good positioning mobs, the TPS.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. I like the mechanics of the skill, and I like how rewarding it is to good play, but it is just a little too awkward for most people to enjoy. And it, man, those flashes, though, staring at that too long, the constant poof, 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 strobe light. It's not. It can't be good for you. I feel like I must be like putting some subliminal messages in the back of my mind or something.
It's pretty comical with like Spectral Throw GMP and throwing out those Magma Orbs. It's comical is the best way to put it. It's just bouncing balls everywhere you go. Behind you, in front of you, left of you, right of you, everything's just bouncing into everything.
Bouncing balls, you say, huh?
Oh, yes.
Bouncing balls.
That's where you picked up on, man. Yeah, wait, bouncing balls. Oh, wait.
I mean, I was pretty bored until that part. All right, next question.
Excise LOL asks, specifically to Dygnity, can you talk about how to start out in a new league, picking a build and progressing into Atsuri and Uber, building up a currency pool in a new league? So what's your process for planning in a new league?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So for me, I've previous to 2.0 is a little bit different because I used to go Spectral Throw cast on crit with the ability to shotgun. Allow you to do it Zeri very early, around your like low 70s, about 30 hours into a new league or less, depending on how hard you went. And this opened up the option for you to begin your progression. But for me, this league, I chose, I talked a little bit about it in the beginning, but I chose based on the ability to scale through gem level and scale through the passive tree instead of scaling through gear, and then have the option to tweak that build with currency into Uber. And for me, that was Summon Raging Spirits this league. But my progression is generally to power level as fast as I can through the content, getting through all the acts as quick as possible, and directly into docks. Do not pass docks at all. Just step in it in Merciless.
Do not collect $200.
Yeah, exactly. Do not go any farther. This is where you stop. Don't kill Dom. Don't do anything else. And level through frame time farming in docks. This is going to generate you at Zeri pieces. This is going to generate you currency. This is going to generate you chaos recipe gear as well. So you can leave it un-ID'd if you don't get good bases while IDing the stuff that you know can potentially roll well.
That's a cool suggestion.
Yeah, I level in there from about 60-ish all the way up until I can kill at Zeri. The moment that I can kill at Zeri, when I get her down for the first time, I farm all my sets I get the first scepters, the first belts within hopefully 24 to 30-ish hours of the new league starting. Immediately up on PoE trade. If you're not running a shop, you need to be. Absolutely 100% important to have your stuff listed. From there, I'm selling scepters as much as I can sell them for. I'm selling belts as fast as possible, and I'm dumping those right into more sets. And the moment that I have enough currency, I'm looking at, for this league, I'm looking at +3 staff, I'm looking at 6 linked, I'm looking at an empower, I'm looking at a 2120 SRS. I basically have the tools that I need to kill Uber, and I itemize, and just like RichJMoney was focusing all of his currency into pushing for his challenges, and ETUP is focusing all of his currency into hard rolling his maps in order for map return on like the first couple days. I'm focusing all of my currency into funding my build progression into Uber. So I know the DPS minimum I'm going to need, and I aim to shoot for that as fast as possible. And the whole time I'm farming sets, I'm stacking hopes. As every time I get a hope, I'm stacking it away. By the time that I get my basically build together, I try it for the first time and I see where my build stands currently, because I won't have perfect gear. I won't have the ability, you know, I'm talking 72 hours plus, maybe like 90 hours into the league. That's when I'm looking at doing Uber for the first time, and I'm looking at, is my build functional? Am I dying to trash? Am I dying to trio? Specifically now, trio is the biggest pain. And I make adjustments based on that. In the 1 month, I ran Mjolnir, and I got into the Ruckus League Mjolnir with like 7 wall of text mods up on Abyss, and you're like, holy moly, these things are just absolutely wrecking me. So on the first set, I make build adjustments in my tree. On the second set, I make gear adjustments from there. If the gear is my problem, then I go back to farming normal until I have the ability to progress to it. So it's pretty much just stacking that progression in order, and yeah, that's my personal track.
That's really interesting, man. Thanks. Next question comes in from Cryptolic. Do you feel like the builds that you're able to do now are being more directed into the same thing? It seems like every build has to have certain skills and gems setups in order to prosper. I guess I'll take the lead on this one first. I actually personally feel like that's less the case now than it used to be. I feel like there's a ton more different options for defensive setups, for cast damage taken setups, whether we even use cast on damage taken. Like, all of the supplemental skills in builds I feel like are much more diverse now, and you have a ton of different options and stylistic choices. Whereas before it was the same. Like, basically our glove boots and helmet were always pretty much the same on most builds in the past.
One for auras, one for casting damage taken, one for cursing. That's it. Everything else is fixed.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, Ziggy. Just the sheer number of cast on damage taken setups I've seen from different people kind of belies that diversity, where it's, you know, I've seen people do a level 1 spell, then curse on hit, then a high level curse. I'm liking Molten Shell more and more on a cast on damage taken. I even use it to keep my Golem active because I'm lazy. And I think that despite whatever changes have been made that might affect build diversity itself, the utility spells have kind of have a lot more diversity with, you know, Warlord's Mark and Poacher's Mark and all these fun things that people are doing.
You're also constantly thinking about it. Before it was like, alright, I have my cast 1 damage taken. There's not really a better one. There's some builds that you could have adjusted it slightly. Now, I always find myself constantly like, well, what about this?
Suits best for this build. Yeah, it's much more interesting now. Far more interesting. Agreed.
I would say, though, the passive tree. Has anyone else felt that the passive tree has been, with the amount of life or nodes that you require, with the amount of spells that can go crit, or the amount of armor, the passive tree seems to kind of path itself a bit more naturally? You're just like, alright, I have to get all the health wheels.
Just grab all the jewel sockets.
Yeah, jewel sockets, health
Those
wheels.
Yeah, maybe in some cases. Especially with Scion and jewels, I would say there's a few more, like, yeah, we need to go this way.
I compare
It's too
like
good to pass up.
a whole bunch of different melee builds, and then it's like, okay, same.
In terms of right now, yeah, I think diversity is pretty good. But the only thing I feel really weird about every time I play any evasion or right side of the tree bow class, I'm like, so I get 3 choices of boots because that's the only thing I'm going to be using. I got Blood Dance, I got Dark Ray Vectors, or I got Series Step. I never feel like I want to get any other pair of boots than those. But yeah, anyways, next question.
Next one comes in from Unsung Cesspool. What do you and everyone else think of a new possible suffix for Life Flask where health gained is on use is instead added to Energy Shield rather than HP? So a bit of a twist on the other question. But basically converting Life Flasks into ES Flasks. ZiggyD's stance on this has been that they want the mechanics to be different. Otherwise, what's the point in having different
that's just
things?
Seems like there's no difference anymore.
Yeah, if we're using that, and I guess that's my stance too. If we're using Life Flasks on ES characters, then there's not really that many functional differences between ES and Life, which reduces the interestingness of it. Any other thoughts?
It would be really absurdly broken for hybrid, being able to potion both their health pools at the same time.
Hybrid flasks,
like instant health flask, instant hybrid. If it could roll that, actually probably. If it's a suffix, yeah, instant life, instant energy shield, pop, GG.
I always like CI without the life flask. That's my favorite part, having 5 utility flasks, Taste of Hate, couple granites, good stuff like that. I've always liked that playstyle, and I hope they don't add an ES flask. Rip Ziggy.
Sorry about that.
I feel like something that could be interesting in that vein would be where popping as a suffix on a flask, maybe a portion of the damage you take is generated to you in the same way you get mana gained on hit, you would just get ES gained on hit. So like not necessarily the same type of mechanics that come from life flasks, but a different play style based around the potions that you would have available to you as ES that can help, at least because of the current state, help ES builds get by a little better.
House is on fire, no big deal.
Grandma's on fire,
Rich.
fell down the stairs, be right back.
Wants to eat Ziggy smoked.
Alrighty, next question. Oh, sorry, I was a little bit late out. Okay. Leadle God asks, how do you feel about some of the unique jewels in the game, specifically the ones that convert stats, i.e. into strength? I guess 2 parts. How do you guys feel about unique jewels in general, especially compared to rare jewels?
Unique jewels are pretty lackluster. There are some that are sold very cheap that are quite good, like Malicious Intent, and then you have some like Chill of the Corruption that are just unbelievably crazy strong. That's 80% chance to gain an extra Val Soul whenever you shatter something. I love that. But I do feel like most of the unique jewels don't really serve a purpose that a normal jewel can already do, just with 3 properties, let alone 2 maybe. There are some that are pretty good for Iron Will, like the ones that convert into strength. You're traveling up there for damage, and you get all, right there in that power charge wheel in the Witch, you put the into strength, and now it's really good for your Iron Will build. Things like that. But overall, I feel most of the unique jewels are pretty lackluster.
Static electricity plus Piscators is so good. So incredibly good. I think they match uniques in this game very well. They range from useless to bit build defining, and then just some strong stats, like the Inspiring Knowledge one.
I feel
like 90% of them are significantly worse than either a 2 or a 3 stat rare jewel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm with Ziggy.
I feel like some of the ones that were really interesting were introduced in the beta and then removed because they had too much potential to be broken, but I kind of want them I kind of want broken things to be in the game, and then maybe tone down a little bit. But I was a little disappointed to see some of the fun stuff, like a lot of the scaling gems to be tuned down quite a bit.
I don't think the uniques are bad. I just think the rare jewels are OP.
So good.
I think
It's so easy to get a cast speed damage, attack speed damage. It's like, okay.
the one thing that I don't know if you guys know, nobody mentioned it yet, but Intuitive Leap saved me 6 points in my tree, which I was able to put into 3 more jewel sockets. So like it was like absolutely glorious. I use it in the left wheel or the left jewel socket all the way over by the Celestial Judgment cluster, and because I'm stacking armor on a Mjolnir, I want the life node, I want the power charge, I want the endurance charge, and I want the armor. So I've got like intuitive leap and 6 points saved because I don't have to path to all 4 of those keystones. And again, I was able to put that directly into 3 more jewels that are all like sick nasty attack speed. So that one worked out very, very well. I like that one right now in my build.
I keep staring at the -1 frenzy charge jewel and the snakebite gloves, and I'm like, you're useless, but I'm keeping an eye out on your mechanical interaction there, buddy.
One day they're gonna do something stupid. One day.
Pretty sure 4% more damage is better than the accuracy and attack speed.
Yeah.
But anyways.
DuxRio32 asks, should melee leech be better than spell leech because of inherent risk of melee? I guess rather than spell leech, more like ranged leech should be worse than melee leech, or the other way around. Melee leech should be better than ranged leech. What do you guys reckon?
I'm not talking about this one.
I'm going home.
I mean,
Ranged leech have disadvantages. You don't get a shield, casters get a shield. You don't get fortify, casters can get fortify by using a dagger, whirling blades, faster attacks, fortify, all that fun stuff. There's advantages to rangers, the fast attack speed and movement, but they are lacking defensively.
I mean, yeah, when you're taking 20% less damage, your leech is more effective, right? Like, in terms of...
True.
But the balancing between them is already kind of implicit in the physical attack damage Leech does life rather than elemental damage. There's already that divide that kind of keeps them... They can be balanced separately, so...
And I also feel like the point is to make it sure that you can't, as a melee character, sustain and just stand there and face tag a boss. I think that's the intention there.
I mean, there was... I had a
12k
ES build last league, and I was just like... With Warlord's Mark and Life Leech Gem, I was just face tanking so many things. And yeah, it could have been adjusted, but there are some instances I'm like, this is absolutely useless. Not even like nerfed, it's literally unplayable, you know?
Gotta use those other defensive mechanics, Zeno.
Well,
CI, that is your defensive mechanic.
I'm pretty sure you called that the dynamic meta shift, Zeno. So
that's not dynamic. That's like, there's no meta, period. Like,
no,
CI
that's
attack
dynamic.
is ripped.
That is dynamic.
I guess, been in before in the Night of the Veil League. I mean,
it is interesting our divided opinions, both playing CI characters on Leech, but me playing a spellcaster that hits a lot, and you playing a melee character. It's interesting.
Spellcaster Leech is definitely a lot better than attack-based Leech. The Blood Rage, it's Blood Rage is what it comes.
That seems weird though. Like, why is that the case? Because
spellcaster
generally
last league, you always use the Life Leech Gem. You always used it. Attack-based,
so nothing
you
changed. It just got better for you.
Exactly. So attack-based got destroyed, where spellcasters still had the same setup as they always did.
Interesting. Okay, that makes sense. Next question comes in from Chubbs. Should there be a reward for killing map bosses, or at least a chance for a reward to drop? I chose this question because I thought it was very telling, because there is. Map bosses can drop +2. That's their reward, as well as, their additional loot.
No. A map boss has a secondary table that it rolls on, and it has a chance of rolling a map. Now, a map boss also is the only available mob that can drop the +2. It can naturally drop a +2 and drop a +2 from the bonus loot table. Now, that bonus loot table is a map table and not guaranteed to roll. It is not a guaranteed +2. So there's your bonus.
There you go. I thought I'd pull that question out just because I thought it was very telling that some people don't even know that they have the bonus on bosses. Next question comes in from Snow. How can I play this game with only 4 stash tabs with the addition of jewels and cards plus map pool, trade, etc. stuff? I don't, like, everyone's like, GGG's adding cards. We need to buy a bunch of new tabs. I mean, cards don't take up that many spaces, and they are essentially currency, so you can just unsell them for currency and stack the currency up.
I actually played, I think I can answer this question fairly well. I played 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, and most of 1.3 with 4 stash tabs. Though we have the introduction of divination cards, we have the removal of the need to have a stash tab of skills.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So that kind of transfers 50-50. There is an advantage to having more stash tabs, and I'm not even...
Yeah, with shops for sure.
Right? All it forces you to do is have to always be on the ball with trading. You're going to have your leveling and personal like alternate gear tab. That's going to be your first tab, let's say. Your second tab is going to be your currency / divination cards. You always have to upgrade your currencies so that the stacks are as small as possible. Your third one is going to be both half maps and then recipes. And that gives you a fourth tab for your crafting, miscellaneous, junk, stuff you need to keep track of.
Yeah.
All that.
And you can always make multiple accounts too. Like, accounts are free. If you're having trouble selling things, you can make a selling account alone. And you're allowed to have 2 clients of Path of Exile open at any time. So that is allowed.
I think something that wasn't mentioned, though, is you no longer have to have a gem tab because gems are pretty much free. So you don't have...
We did mention that.
Oh, sorry.
That was the first thing.
Oh, sorry. I glossed over. I was reading the other comments. But yes, removal of gems. Reiterate that one for you guys.
All right, let's go to the next question. Last one at that.
You can manage with 4, but it's certainly advantage to getting a few more. This is from Creeks. What about a life leech flask? There is life leech on Flask. That's another one of those questions I thought I'd pull out. It's just like, there is life leech on Flask, just no one wants it because there's way better things you can roll. So, and it's like 0.2% life leech, isn't it?
I don't think I've ever wanted that mod.
No, isn't it?
No, I have never wanted that mod either.
I don't know, but it's like it's only active while the life flask is healing you, and there's way better things you can have.
And it's already healing you for the damage that you would leech.
Is it only rollable on a life flask? I can't even.
I think it's on.
No, you can roll it on everything. I think.
Yeah, so if you put it on like.
So you could roll on like granite, I guess, but instead of iron skin or instead of curse immunity.
Isn't it attacks only though?
Yeah, it's physical attack.
Yeah.
It's actually an interesting question I want to raise to you guys that I've been thinking about is. How would you feel about a change from physical attack to just physical leech? I mean, there's not many. I can't really see many problems with that, and it would give EK something interesting and unique to it. I mean, it might be a problem in the future if they try to add more physical spells. I mean, Glacial Cascade's only 1/3 fizz. It would be a nice little boost to Glacial Cascade, but I can't really see any problems with it.
Well, your Shockwave totems would never die now. That'd be pretty good too.
There's already totem leech.
I'm being trolly.
I mean, they did do the flip side of that, where they just made attack damage leech with the belts, the new Diet and
Yep.
So I think they're probably open to the idea of kind of playing with those, and maybe introducing it on a unique would be a nice way to have that effect in the game without.
Well, you have the Atsiri belt.
There's also one of the rings that turns into the taming, one of the barracks that will give you leech based on if the monster is shocked or frozen. So it already exists.
Atsiri Flask, which is, I'd say, underrated.
Atsiri Flask, oh man, so good.
Every single character that self-casts anything, it's on there.
Yeah, that's me, I put it on there.
Yeah.
If it's not totem,
that's a good flask. Leech and bonus damage and chaos resistance. Like, it's a good excuse to have a chaos res flask. It's perfect. Yeah. I don't know why more people don't use it.
So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in today to the podcast. We appreciate you guys' support with this. This is a fun, amateur community podcast we've been doing now for quite some time, so thanks a lot. Also, RichJMoney, more like, you know what? Because Ziggy has to wake up all the time, Rich, let's just go to the land down under. You want to do that? Let's just thank Rich. Thank Ziggy here.
What are we doing?
What?
Oh, hold on.
What's going on?
Oh, I can't do it on this one like you can, Rich. Oh, wait, no, I can. There we go. Thanks, Ziggy, for waking up so much to come on these podcasts. We appreciate it.
I feel at home
We'll
now.
come in Australia next time. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. And Dygnity, if you'd like to give a little shout-out to where we can find you in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Twitch TV /Dygnity. I really do appreciate all the support and everything like that. I haven't been streaming very, very long, but the opportunity to come on here and hang out with you guys has been fantastic, as well as, get my name out there a little bit. So if you... Can I go down under too, please? I'd like to go down under. But thank you guys very much. And again, I do appreciate all the support and the opportunity to be here with you guys.
And Rich, where can we find you?
I can be found at Twitch TV/RichJMoney, or on YouTube I'm RichJMoney TV, I think. I stream every day except Monday for 6 to 10 hours, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And if you guys don't know, you can always find Ziggy, one of the hosts here, at twitch.tv/ZiggyD Live, but everyone probably already knows you, Ziggy, don't they? Mr. 100K subscribers.
Nobody knows.
And of course, ProjectPT he's going for that partnership. Give you a shameless plug here.
Well, I've applied for the partner application program third time, and you can find me at ProjectPT.
Why haven't they given it to you yet?
I know.
I don't know. Other than that, if you do want to address any of your hate mail related to the conversation of topics about maps, you can go to my inbox. Makes really good YouTube videos. So please, all hate mail.
That's a good idea.
Go there.
And
Beyond
me for
that,
liking Leech.
I don't know how you hating on maps, man. Like, I don't know how.
Dude, I thought we were gonna have to duck you out the back.
Yeah, I was like,
and like just go, get him out of here.
Have you? All right, Proj, I'm not trolling you. Have you done 79 plus yet?
I only did the 79s in beta. I've done 75s on live,
Fair
but
enough. Okay,
only
just
79s
curious.
in beta.
All right, guys. Well, that's it. You can find this on ZiggyD's YouTube in a couple hours, and if you're hearing this right now, it's probably going to cut off anyways from delay. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. Much love and respect.
Bye.
Rich,
everybody.
too much fun with that crap.
Your internet sucks if you're watching this.
That's the nice thing about OBS is you can play